Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome to the third episode of Technical Analysis. As you have seen what the market is doing to all of us, of course, it's one of the worst time to be in the market. But if you're a long-term investor, you don't have to worry about it because in the last 4 years, we have seen multiple times this bear market has prevailed in front of us. So the only thing is you need to know where the opportunities are and how you can benefit from these opportunities to grow your wealth in the long term. Today, as usual, we have Faiz Bhai. Thank you so much, Faiz Bhai, for joining us today.
You're welcome, Adnan Bhai. Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure. So Faiz Bhai is going to talk about the market situation at the moment so that we know how to analyze the market. There's one indicator that he's going to talk about, which is Doji indicator, how he has used that indicator to make benefit and how he got out of a trade from Ethereum when it was at $3,500. And now we're looking at the points when we should enter into Ethereum. That is what the whole topic for today's discussion is all about. And the second thing that we need to see, how can we look at the monetization in this situation, how we can find the opportunities in the market. And the third part of this live is going to be some of you have shared with us some of the live charts. So we have to see and analyze if those live charts you were able to, make good support and resistance lines and see where the mistake happened. So Faiz Bhai, the stage is over to you. You can get started.
Perfect. Let's get started. So I'm actually excited about today because as we all know what the market is doing, it's a little red, right? So let me share my screen here.
Yeah, for sure.
There we go. Boom. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So for those who watched the first video with Adnan Bhai and me, you saw that I made a plan for my Ethereum. I have switched the plan a little bit, but my first two levels are filled and it's looking good for the other two as well. Now, what I wanted to talk about is so far with this series with Adnan Bhai, we've talked about some candlesticks like hammer candles at support, inverted hammers at resistance. We talked about support resistance. We talked about trends. Now, there is something one specific candle I want to talk about. It's called the Doji Candle. So before we go further with what is that, let me show you what a Doji Candle actually is and what sentiment it portrays to us and how we can use that opportunity to either be patient, or get into a trade or get out of a trade, right? So what is a Doji Candle? So we all know that every candle has a body and upper shadow and lower shadow. Well, it doesn't have to have it, but most of them do. So a doji candle is a candle where the body is very small, but the wicks are very long, upper and lower, right? So let's look at what the sentiment is behind this. The sentiment is we opened here. If this was a green candle, let's say, we opened here, sellers took it here, then buyers brought it all the way up, and then we settled right back here at the close, right? So this tells us, and it could be the other way as well. If it was a red candle, it would just, buyers would take it up, bring it down, and come back there. So the whole point of this candle is it tells us that the market is undecided which way it wants to move. The buyers and sellers are fighting, but the fight is very neutral. So there's a lot of pressure at this location, and we don't know if it's going to go up or it's going to go down, right?
That's what we call the short squeeze, right?
Short squeeze has a little bit more because short squeeze, you'd require a lot of short interest and they need to get squeezed out of their position, right? Now, when a doji comes, so this candle comes all the time and it's not relevant all the time. So you need to also, which is why I went over support resistance before I came to this topic, because if a doji comes at a support or resistance, it means a lot more than if it came randomly in the middle somewhere. And we're going to look at some examples. I'm actually going to walk you guys through what my thought process was when I saw this candle come in on Ethereum, because Ethereum is my largest position in crypto. So
mine as well.
Yeah. So I wanted to make sure I always keep an eye on Ethereum over most of my crypto.
It's a market mover, especially for DeFi coins.
Yeah. So let me go into the weekly chart because I'm in Ethereum for the long term. I'm not day trading it. So I was looking at the weekly chart, and this is around where I started thinking of exiting my position. So this was when Ethereum was at 4,000, right? On a weekly chart, we can see this candle right here and the next candle. Both are Doji candles, the one that we just talked about.
Talk about.
So
Okay.
it told me as as a chart reader that the market is undecided. And over here this is when, this is what, December? Yeah, December. This is when Jay Powell and then we're starting to accept that there's actually inflation is not transitory. So all of that was coming into place. So the market started showing signs of undecisiveness. So I was like, okay, now, like I said, nobody can predict the future. But what I can do is look at the chart and see what is happening right at this moment. So I saw that there's uncertainty. So I was like, if we break above, perfect, we're gonna keep going higher. But if we break below, there could be a downward move because the market is undecided. And then if we break below these candles, that means the bears are gonna start winning. So what happens then? We see that the next candle comes in and we break this doji. And here's when I started getting out of my Ethereum position, started selling, collecting some profits and stuff. Then the next week comes in, and here I'll show you. This is still the same week. Okay, so we get this candle, which is the next week. We're still okay. I'm still not fully out yet because it could still bounce back up, but I'm slowly starting to scale out because it feels like the market doesn't know where it wants to go. Because over here, before that, everything looked, if you remember, higher highs and higher lows,
Yeah.
everything was looking good, right? I thought maybe we'll do this, or if we break that doji, we'll do this. So that was where things were getting a little, not scary, but I had to switch my plan. So, all right. So let's see what happened after that. We break that, and I'm like, okay, I'm out because we broke all of these hammer candles. Like we remember, hammer show
Yeah.
the Hatora candle. It tells us that the buyer's in control. It broke those. So I'm like, I'm out of these, most of my Ethereum position. One thing I believe in crypto is never sell all of your crypto because crypto can do crypto things and just out of nowhere, boom.
Take a
So
profit slowly. Yeah.
yeah, never sell all of your crypto. Always leave some for, more profits. But then what happened after that. We kept going lower and lower. So this was on a weekly time frame that I analyzed Ethereum using this one single candle, Doji, and the sentiment it shows us, which is uncertainty.
I have a question. So you're talking
Yes.
about the weekly candle and where the doji is showing. What does
Yeah.
it show on the daily candle or no?
Yes, absolutely. I actually have a very good example for a Doji candle on a weekly, and it's not on crypto. It's actually on the SPY or QQQ. Let's see. Let me go to the daily. Actually, on the weekly too, if you see, there's a Doji right there. You see it? This is the SPY, and then it broke it, and we are now doing what we
But
do.
you're showing it on the weekly. I'm asking if you can show it on the daily.
Yep, we can see it on the daily as well. So now, like I said, these candles come all the time. Like there's
Okay.
one right there,
Right there.
there's
Yeah, I see
one
that.
right there, there's one kind of right there. You can say maybe this is an inverted hammer, but there's one right there, there's one right there. So it comes all the time,
All the time.
which is why it is important to know your support resistance. So you can identify which location is important for it to show up on, right? So if you see, like, not just on daily, you can even go on, like, I usually day trade the 3 minute chart. So I'll show you on AMD is one of my favorite stocks to day trade. So if we come here, this is what happened on Friday. Let's see if we can find any dojis here that I would have played right here.
Yeah, I see. I see it
Boom.
so many places.
Boom. So you see this white line. My white line was a previous support, new resistance, which is right here. So I had this marked from before. Now, as a trader, I'm watching this play out. I'm like, okay, there's a doji. That tells me at this particular point that the market is undecided. It could break up or it could break below. So using the OCO orders, one cancels the other type of order, what I can do is I can set up a trade that looks something like this. If it breaks up, I'm taking it to the top. If it breaks low, I'm taking it to the low. I can do this as a trader. I don't have to be biased towards the long side or the short side. I just know that
So
I can
what did you do
different.
here with setting the stop loss and the profit and support? What can you repeat that step
Yeah,
again?
absolutely. So what I did here was I know at this point that the market is undecided. I don't know if it's going to go up or it's going to
Up
go
or
down.
down? Yeah.
So, right. So what I did was, if you watch our previous video with the number, I always said that as a trader, or you need to know your entry, your worst case scenario, and your best case scenario.
Best case
So
scenario.
I set my entry. If it goes down, it's below the doji, and my worst case scenario, which is at this point I'm completely out of the trade because I know I'm wrong, is right there at the top of that red part, and my target is right here at the bottom of the green. This is if I'm going short. If I'm going along, it's go up, take my target here. Worst case scenario, if we go here, I'm out. Right?
So we are covering this topic for the first time. So I would appreciate if you can tell the audience what is going short and what is going long.
Okay. So long is when you go bullish. So bullish is when bulls attack up with their horns, bears claw down with their
Slow
claws.
down.
So it's bullish is up, bearish is down, right? Long is up, short is down. Okay. So now we see that my other trade would have gotten triggered, not this one, but the short one. I'm in this trade. So, and then boom, I collect my profit, I'm out. And this whole trade happened from one candle, which is the Doji candle, and the
Yes.
sentiment it provided to us, which is uncertainty. What is the market going to do? Now, as we all know, that the market is in term, like it's in a bear trend right now. And we talked about trends before. As crypto, I know a lot of our viewers are into the crypto world. Well, and maybe a lot of you are in losses. Maybe a lot of you are just getting in. If you're getting in just now, you're probably getting in the best time
Best time.
because you're
Exactly.
getting basically a 50% discount on a lot of things, right? So everybody likes a good discount. Now, for the people who are in the red, they might not be enjoying this dip, but you have to understand that the price of something is not something, right? So when Amazon had the tech bubble burst and it went dropped down to like $2, $3, I believe. I'm not sure exactly when. Amazon at
99.
that time, Amazon was actually bringing out new innovations in their company, in their systems, and they were doing extremely innovative stuff that is changing the world right now. But that was happening when their stock was plummeting. So Jeff Bezos actually said in one of his interviews, a company stock is not the company, and the company is not its stock.
Company
They're
always stock.
two separate entities. So if you look at Ethereum, if you look at Bitcoin, all this crypto is falling, but the adoption is not falling. The
Not
use
falling.
cases are rising, innovation is increasing. So
Yeah,
it is
and
the
one more interview, Jeff Bezos was mentioning that he never looks at the stock prices on daily basis because he only looks at the metrics of his business. Is the metrics of his business, which is calculating the net profit, checking the revenue, looking at the bad debts. If everything is under control and they are meeting all their metrics, they don't care about the stock price. Stock price will follow them. So never base your decision based only on the stock price. Look at the fundamentals of the company or the fundamentals of the crypto.
That's correct, right? So I just wanted to quickly go over this Doji
Okay.
candle today because I feel like it can save a lot of people money
Yeah.
today and in the future, because it clearly shows you that the market is in a homeostasis period and it can pop up or pop down. And we saw that clearly on QQQs, on SPY. We saw it on Ethereum. Let's go check out Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin put in a nice doji too. We go on the daily chart before this horrendous drop right there.
Yeah, I see a lot of them.
That would have been the doji you would have been concerned with, because that is at all-time highs, right?
Yeah.
You could have said, if we break up, we're going to keep going higher. If we break down, we're going to keep going lower. Now, how low, you could not have predicted that, because when it broke that there, and then it kept going lower and lower. But that would have been your doji to play and or switch plans or strategize on Bitcoin, right? So from now on that you guys know what a doji is, make your support resistance, see when this candle comes in, and then most of the time, if you're not in a trade when you see this candle, You're supposed to wait to see which direction the market chooses. If you're in a trade and you see this candle, you need to start looking at collecting profits or exiting early if you're not already in profit, so you lose less, right? So those are that one little candle can help you save tons of money, can help you increase your entries, get better prices on your assets,
Do you
right?
see that candle showing or appearing right now at what the current market situation is?
No, right now, like if you look at what Ethereum is doing, is it did put in a hammer, but like I said, we talked about trends. So right now we're doing this. So
Yeah.
I feel like we're gonna probably go down a little bit more, just because, not because of anything crypto is telling me, it's more because of what SPY did actually. So I can actually go over this quickly with you, some of you. It is, so this blue line right here, for those who are familiar, this is called the 200 daily moving average. It is a very strong support zone. How can I tell you that? Just follow this blue line. Every time it has touched it, which hasn't been in a long time, it has bounced. And the last time it touched it was 26 June 2020. And the time before that was right before the COVID crash, which is 27th Feb 2020. And we are
Yeah.
touching that. We actually broke it on Friday, which is why I I think we have a little bit more bearishness left in it. I think most of the drop has already happened, so the drop I don't think has to necessarily be still the same amount, but I still think we have some bearishness left in the overall markets before we start moving higher.
What is this line called?
The blue line is called the 200 daily moving average. What
Moving
it
average.
is
Okay.
it's the past 200
Days.
prices averaged out. It's the average of the
Past
last
is the
200 days.
past 200 prices or past 200 days.
Past the prices of the past 200 days
200 days.
averaged
Yeah.
out, right? So this is used by a lot of technical traders as areas of buying and selling and support resistance. So based on the type of candle we see here and where it's closed, I still think that there's some bearishness left. Does not mean that you go short everything or you panic sell all your positions. Just means that be very cautious about what you're buying, how much leverage, especially in the crypto world. You have no idea how many people are losing their accounts and cannot buy the dip because they were over leveraged, right? So what does leverage mean? If you have $2,000 and you leveraged it 100 times, that's $200,000 or 20,000. I don't know what my math is. Anyways, so let's say you forex 2,000, forex is 8,000. If Ethereum drops 1,000, your whole account is gone, even though it dropped 1,000 because you were leveraged four times,
Yeah.
right? So that 2,000 actually becomes negative
You
2,000.
were preparing yourself for four times of the profit or four times of the losses.
Exactly. So, and leverage, I'm not saying is bad. You can, if you know how to use leverage, use it. But in the crypto world, you don't need leverage because of how volatile it is. You cannot, if the SPY dropped 30% overnight, that means the US got hit by zombies or something. Like something crazy happened. But crypto world, you see 30% drop, you're like, oh, just another drop, right?
Exactly.
So be very careful in this market using leverage, and especially in the crypto market. A lot of opportunities are coming to get into like Ethereum, Bitcoin, what a lot of projects and stocks very soon. So I would say if you have side hustles, if you have jobs, start accumulating cash because you're gonna need buying power to be able to monetize these opportunities. But as of now, expect the market to either go sideways or down a little bit more for the next week or few weeks until we see some fundamentally we need to see some actions taken by the Fed to improve the economy because we're
Yeah.
in a
Two more things I would like to add regarding fundamental issues that can happen and that can change the market dynamics. One of them is that there's a earning report for most of the top companies in the stock market. I could mention two companies that I'm definitely keeping an eye on. One of them is Microsoft, and the other one is Tesla. So Tesla has already opened their two factories, or they're planning to open. So if they show good numbers in terms of the record sales, that could definitely drive the market up. That could be one of the reasons. Second reason, as Faisbaz has mentioned, that it's the interest rates. We have to see if Fed is going to have any thoughts on the interest rates. And the third factor could be any factor which we haven't seen yet. Like last week, Russia all of a sudden blocked all their cryptocurrency transactions. We never know which country is going to be the next that can adopt or which country can block it. So that unexpected news is one of the factors too for the market to drive as well.
That's correct. Now, before we end this video, I do want, because we had one of our viewers send us some charts, and I
Yeah.
think it would be valuable to go over it. Uh, Let me
The
just.
viewer, if you can mention his name as well,
Oh, Umes bhai.
Umesh Bhai has
Umes,
sent us. Yeah.
thank you
Thank you
so
for
much,
sending us.
Umes,
Yeah.
bro, for the charts, because this is a good learning opportunity for a lot of us. So
For sure.
we're gonna go over a couple crypto charts that he sent me. So this is his Mina chart, right?
Yeah.
Now, uh, we've see the blue lines, I believe, is his support and resistance lines that he's made. And then if you see the 0.786 and these colors in the middle, that's his Fibonacci retracement. Now, what I would say is, as as most traders, the most common mistakes when you're new is you start looking at your charts as coloring books, and you think that the lines are gonna magically help the chart move. It is for you to, it's for helpful for you, not for the market. So just keep it simple. You don't want too much things on your chart, because then you're gonna start getting confused as to which
Which
indicator am I
line
looking
represent
at.
what?
Exactly, right? So over here, his support and resistance is good. The blue lines are good. Now, when it comes to this Fibonacci retracement, you usually don't want to draw Fibonacci on the whole move of a stock completely, or a crypto completely. You use it to find certain moves. So let me show you how I would use on Mina chart Fibonacci, Mina USD. Okay, so this is Mina right here. Now, for those of you who know how to use Fibonacci, you want to find the impulsive leg. So this move right here, this big down move, was an impulsive bear move. Now, as a trader using technical analysis, I want to know how far it can go up and how far it can go down, so I can maybe short it or maybe look for entry points, right? So you don't, I don't want to get into this into too much detail, because it's going to take a whole hour, maybe
Yes.
more, to explain this, right? So the whole point of this, pointing out this opportunity, is because if I do this, I can identify moves within this short period. But if I do it like Umesh Bhai did, this whole move, it it's kind of pointless to see what has already happened, because it's just a lot of these Fibonacci lines are coinciding with your support resistance lines, and you've already made that. So this is just cluttering your chart, right? Now, he also sent me, oh, what is this? Sent me Rune. Now, Rune chart, I actually like Umesh Bhai's Rune chart. Why? Because he made the Fibonacci on this down move. He didn't make it on the whole move. He
Yeah.
just made it on this move.
Much cleaner
Now,
here.
much cleaner here, exactly. And his support resistance also looks good. And for the Fibonacci users, 0.618, sorry, zero point 0.5, 0.618, and 0.786 are your golden zones. So you can see here that he had this Fibonacci drawn on this initial move. And then this rune retraced to the 0.786 level. So as a technical trader, you could have started short. If you were looking for a short in a downtrend, you could have started adding short zero point 0.5, 0.618, 0.786, and then collected your profit at zero, right? So this chart looks very good for Rune. Now we have Baiko.
Yeah.
Yep, Baiko. Same with Baiko. Baiko hasn't been around for too long, so the Fibonacci and the supports look good. Now, the most important part about using Fibonacci's is, or anything, you need to practice it, and you need to make sure that you know what it's telling you, because a lot of traders learn from this video, from that video. Like today you've learned Doji Candle, and you're
Yeah.
like, okay, every time Doji
Let
breaks,
me
I'm
buy
gonna
that.
go long, and every time it breaks down, I'm gonna buy short. No, it does not work. And always remember, in the trading game, everything works, just not all the time, which is why managing your risk is very important. you can use the most fanciest indicators out there, but it will never work all the time. So you have to be a good risk manager before you are anything else, right? So I want to conclude by saying, with when it comes to your dojis, go watch all the videos because it all ties up. I'm making all these topics go link to each other so that it's like step one, step two, step three for beginners. And if you have any questions, like always, please comment. Feel free to DM me on my Instagram. And Adnan Bhai, do you have any questions as well or anything to add?
No, I appreciate the fact that you talked about a very important candle, which is the Doji candle, that can definitely give us an idea if the market is going to go upwards or downwards. But as Faizbhai has said, in technical world, nothing is guaranteed. So some technicals might work at one situation, but it might not work in another situation, which is why you need to be good at managing your risk. That is one of the good point. And if you remember correctly, Faizbhai has showed us, how he's managing his risk. In the initial days when Ethereum went down because of this Doji candle, he took his profit, but he did not take all his profit. He took his profit little by little. And now when Ethereum is still going down, he's not putting all his money in. He's managing risk by putting his points like 10% he's gonna buy now. When it drops a little bit further, he's gonna add another 20 or 30%. So this is what he means when he says, manage your risk, manage your cash. And this is the perfect time for anybody to get into the crypto space. Of course, this is not a financial advice, but if you have multiple side hustles, as Fazbhai has said, this is the time when you should be able to manage those cash positions and start investing little by little, because you never know when the market is going to bounce. Next week, as I'm talking about, earning report is definitely going to play one of the important factors, but there could be any other factor that we haven't seen yet. So you should definitely be prepared for the market to go a little bit down, as Fazbhai has shown us in the SPY chart, 200-day moving average chart, that it already is meeting that point, but it can definitely go a little bit down from that point onwards. And I feel it the same. So this is what I wanted to give as my final notes. Fazbhai, thank you so much for being part of
No worries.
this live with me, and
And
it's
Adnan Bhai,
definitely helping a lot of people out.
just wanted to add one thing for the
For sure, sure.
people who want to who are like, I don't know exactly how to manage risk or where to use, like how do I set up these 10-20% buys. Just know that in the future coming weeks with Adnan Bhai, I will be going over how to exact, like there's a very simple grade 2 math formula you can use to manage your risk in any investment or trade you get into. I'll go over brokers, order types, so you guys are able to do this without always having to have your screen up there, so that your brokers can do it for yourself. So there's
For
definitely
sure.
topics we will cover.
Yeah. And we can make this session better if you can give us your comments, any questions that you have, write down in the comments below, and always reach out to me or Faizbhai. His Instagram is already mentioned at the start of the video, and I'm going to mention it here in the end as well. Send us an email, or even follow Faizbhai YouTube channel. Faizbhai, if you can just express your YouTube channel, and I can put the link of your YouTube
Yes,
channel below.
of course, absolutely. I'm gonna get more videos up there as well, because these topics take more than just 30 minutes to 40 minutes to explain. But I know our viewers are very eager to learn, and when you stop learning, you basically die. So don't stop learning, keep learning, and keep investing and keep getting rich.
Those are some of the great points. Thank you so much, Faizbhai, and see you around, guys. Definitely do check out on our other social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, as well as YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed, I'm going to say that because in my last analysis of our YouTube video, 98% of the people who watched, they did not subscribe to it, which is why I have to, remind you to please subscribe so that our channel can grow as well, and we can help a lot of people like you. Thank you so much for being part of this live, and hope to see you all next week.